What's the basic biofuels process? How do we get from algae to something that we can use as a fuel? And we're going to be talking about biodiesel for the end product that we are looking to get from algae. So first we have to start with a algae culture. That means we got to get some algae from somewhere to start growing it. So we get that algae culture, and the thing that algae needs to grow is sunlight, carbon dioxide, and some nutrients, and water. So we get those things all together, and we put them into a photobioreactor, or PBR. And that is a chamber or a process that provides ideal conditions for that algae to grow really well. So from the photobioreactor, we now have this stream of concentrated algae and water and some other stuff, nutrients and things that weren't used. So now we need to be able to harvest the algae from this water and algae mixture. So often we don't want to use all the water that has been the algae's been growing in. So somehow we'll concentrate the algae and harvest it and get it ready for further processing. So this harvested algae then goes into algae processing. What we do here is now we have all these cells of algae, but the oils that we really want and need to use are trapped inside the cell. So we've got to somehow get the oils out. So this includes breaking that cell membrane and then extracting the oil from all the other stuff that's in there. So the things that are byproducts that we don't really need for our biofuels process are things like proteins and carbohydrates that are in the cells as well. And these can be used for other types of processes. The proteins can be used as animal feed, and maybe we can burn the carbohydrates to produce other energy. So those are not necessarily wastes, but those are byproducts, and we can find good things and useful things to do with that byproduct stream. Now what we're interested in for the biofuels is the oils from the algae. So we've done our algae processing and we've gotten the algae oils out of the process. And we take that oils and we need to now turn it into something that we can use in an engine. We can't directly burn the oil from the algae. We have to change it, chemically change it so that we can burn it in an engine. And that's our biofuel conversion. We'll talk more in subsequent lectures about how we do that, but there's a chemical change that needs to take place in that molecule of oil to turn it into biodiesel. So from our conversion, we have some wastes, and we can recycle some chemicals that we use during that conversion. But our ultimate product is biodiesel. And when we're done with all of this, here we've got biodiesel, and we can put that into our diesel engine and get energy out of it. So what are we going to do in this project? We don't have time to investigate each and every one of the steps in this process, so we're going to focus on a few. We are going to focus on designing a bioreactor. What's the best design that's going to give us optimal or maximum production of algae? How do we design that and make sure that the algae has what it needs in order to grow the best? We also are going to make our own spectrophotometer, which is the device that we'll use to measure how much algae we are getting in our reactor, and that's how we're going to determine the success or failure of our reactors. And we'll also then take and talk about biofuel conversion, which is a transesterification reaction. So we're going to take some vegetable oil and we're going to turn that into biodiesel. And then we'll do a fuel characterization, because we want to make sure that the biodiesel that we make is similar in quality and things like viscosity and burn rate and burn temperature to a diesel that we could get from a petroleum product. So we need it to be similar so that it can be burned and used in the same type of engine that would burn a petrochemical diesel. Now, what we won't do in this project, because we are limited on time and limited on resources, is we are not going to be harvesting the algae from our actual reactors. We would have to separate that and concentrate the algae. Often that's done using a settling pond and filters to get some of that water out that we really don't need for processing. We also won't be breaking the cell walls. Those processes are often done by many different ways. We could freeze it, we could blast it with ultrasonic waves, or other mechanical ways of breaking it. It can also be done by electrical energy or actually adding chemicals to the algae can break the cell walls. And we won't be separating the fat from the resulting mixture from that after we've broken the cell walls. So, hope you are looking forward to this project. We'll be talking more in class. Go back and make sure you have those portfolio questions answered, and we will